I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys. I tried to record these kind of episodes for such a long time, or it happened, or when it happened. But I've been very just like closed in, and today is where I kind of push my limit, and where they crossed the line, and it's 2025, and it's time for me to get it all out. I never really wanted to talk about this because I had a lot of moments where I was afraid where I would get like in trouble because I was pretty much putting my safety out online. Like I was worried that I was gonna get murdered or something like that. Like something stupid that I know could happen, but I really try to not think too much of it. There was a time where I was in my podcast section where I would constantly talk about something and I would be like, this is the perfect segment to talk about something that I have been very vulnerable about. Something that's been very touching and sensitive that I really haven't talked about a lot. If you guys don't know, my full ethnicity is I'm Asian. I grew up in an Asian background, but I was fully born in America. But I always told people that I was born in China because when I was first born, immediately I was shipped immediately back to China to my dad's side of the family. Kind of something that I don't really share to the public, but it's kind of alignment now. That being said, you guys can't see the watermarks because this is a very important video. Something that I feel like most people go through really commonly, actually. Very, very commonly. From an annual report from 2021 to 2022, about 19% of students around the age of 12 to 18 reported to get bullied during high school, which is a lower percentage than the percentage which reported in 2010 2011, which is 28%. Even now, though, 19% is still pretty high. If only we could drop down to 1% or even 0% would be. I may seem like the student that never gets bullied because I don't really go crazy on about my school. Like I do talk about my school life, but I keep my personal school and family life really separate from each other, really spread apart. Don't really talk about it too much on the internet because I know digital footprint and I know this will back me back on. That being said, I don't really talk about it a lot on my podcast. Getting bullied is something that I always hated, that I know happened to me. I was literally in aftercare. I had this one student, had this one acquaintance, classmate, schoolmate of mine that would constantly bully me, and I always get so afraid that I was gonna die one day because of him. Luckily, never happened, but point being, it could happen anytime, right? That being said, I was really scared at a little age. And so, getting bullied was something that I was just used to. I never reported to my parents about it because they were close to that person and I really didn't want to like bring in some awkwardness between me and this person. Eventually I did tell them, but it was kind of too late at that point because they didn't really care. I mean, they did care, but it wasn't like, like why didn't you tell me? It was always an answer of like, why didn't you tell me it earlier? In my heart, I didn't want to because I was scared. I was scared of them going to somehow bully me to death. I don't want to die at a young age. Let that move on and let that soak in. Now, fast forward, I'm in middle school now, and I'm in my year of being around six, not even six actually, second, for first grade maybe. First grade started, and throughout first grade and my entire year of middle school, I would always get some sort of hate and bullied online. Even if something that I didn't do, something that wasn't true. Eighth grade was a year where kind of the bully kind of hit hard, where I lost people that I thought were friends. Obviously, I know looking back at it now, I know they're not friends of mine because I never would count them as friends, but deep down I would. Not because I never had friends, it's because I did, and most of them moved away, and it was hard to kind of bring back that, like rekindle that moment of like, how do I make friends again? That kind of moment, if you understand what I'm talking about. That being said, I didn't really make much friends in middle school. I had my friends really subtle, and if I did make friends, it was mostly a lot of people that I talked to a lot more, or people that I grouped up with more that had already had friends, and I was just kind of pushed into their friend group, which I didn't mind because we pretty much all bonded really well. Every time I talk about something, am thinking about who I'm talking about, so I know who I'm talking about. That being said, let's head over to present. Not really present, more so present also. 2022, I moved to a different state. I moved to somewhere that wasn't in the area that I was originally from. I'm from South Philly. I grew up in South Philly for my entire life. My parents are immigrants. You know, nothing crazy new. But we moved for multiple reasons. I was one of the reasons why, but I'm not going to get into my part. Let's just say I moved to a new high school in a different state. This was in 2022, the same year that I graduated from my middle school. So obviously, an impulsive decision is already brought up multiple times, questioned by over the dinner table, over the over the dinner table multiple times, which means that it has happened. It has happened. It was already gonna happen. I didn't have a choice way, which I didn't really care that much because I was ready to have a new life, a new personality, new identity, blah blah blah. Where people don't that I don't know, just get away. I blocked everybody that I didn't know, or I just waited until they unfollowed me, and I would hit them from my stories to a point where they couldn't get, and they kind of get aggravated and unfollow me. I went either or. 2022, I walk into school and I'm just, doing my own business and all that stuff. Flash forward, and we had an issue where my bus didn't arrive. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I just want you guys to kind of, you know, it can go either way. You guys can take their side or my side. The bully got really bad my high school year, and I'm currently in high school, so there really isn't something I can do about it. I pretty much, long story short, did something that I kind of regretted because I thought it was an innocent thing to do. I didn't think much of it. I did something that would haunt me for the rest of my year in high school. Something that I would fully regret. Somebody that I wouldn't regret meeting, but somebody that I would regret. I would regret kind of doing it too, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, I didn't regret the person that I met, but I regretted the people that I showed it to. That being said, the next day, I didn't really think much of it. I went into my normal class periods. In this one specific class period, I got humiliated. I don't even know how to pronounce the word because I'm so traumatized by it still to this day. I was so humiliated because the student that I thought was one lucky nice student, the whole entire class, there was over 20 people, and I had one friend in there, one of my best friends. I had another friend, but they moved. I had one of my best friends in there. Luckily, she was on my side, but it wasn't pretty much a big. I had one of my friends in there that I was super close to, and I still am to this day. And pretty much, they told the whole entire class about the situation that I did, that I showed on my end, something that I did that wasn't wrong to me, which shouldn't be wrong, but it was taken out of context and made me look like a really evil villain. That I couldn't prove myself, and I couldn't. I literally thought I lost my voice in the. I physically thought there was no way in history that I could possibly get back my will of living in high school ever again. I wanted to literally jump off the roof and hope that I never existed. That was the mindset that I had after that. After that, I thought, holy crap, get me out of this class right now, and I moved on. Didn't think much of it, thought it was gonna be subtle ending. But I couldn't make any friends in that class anymore because of what happened. Like it's like I'm always so scared to talk about it. The next period, I didn't have that guy anymore, thank God. But I had this other guy that was friends with that guy. That guy told the other guy who was in my other period, and I found out because he kind of confronted me about it. He was like, "Oh, I heard from my other friend did this and this," and true. I mean, it was true, but it wasn't how they made it sound like it was. it sounded like it was this evil thing that I was really kind of doing behind the scenes, because flipping these Caucasian white guys in my school were acting like that. Either way, I pretty much was like, yeah, that wasn't true. Obviously, didn't believe me. And, anyways, obviously didn't believe me. Next period, no, not next period, sorry. After that day, I rode on the bus, and obviously, the guy who told his friend about it was on my bus. And he was always on my bus. He was always on my route, is why I always saw him. So I wanted to literally, at this point, also just like jump off a roof again. But this time, more heavier to a point like I can't feel my body. Paralyzed to body down, so I don't even need to get written in the bus. Um, anyways, I thought it was over, and it wasn't. So, of course, somebody who has gotten bullied for many years, around 8 years, I would say, I reported it to an staff member that was pretty high up. They said I reported it as harassment, which it was. They said they handled it. Never knew what happened next, never informed me what happened, but I reported the situation. That being said, somebody that I used to be friends with told me that they went to court. Not saying that it was true or not because I was never told about this information. It was a fed information by this friend now. So I didn't really know what true or not, right? Right. Well, I thought that was a okay decision. The guy told my class and also told his friend about it, nagged on to the situation and brought it on dragging it, calling my name out, making fun of my name, not making fun of my name, but calling it in a sarcastic tone of not in a normal way of like, hey, I need help with something. More like, hey, loser, like, you know what you did on that stuff. Anyways, moving on, in my moment, I had the worst freshman year ever. I remember wanting to rot in my bed, just never coming out. I was like, I'm not gonna let them win. Just because the bully did something that they deserved, you know, that's what they get for doing that to me. Thought I stood up my ground of letting them know who I really was. Apparently not, because sophomore year, they did the exact same thing where they dragged on my name constantly on the bus. Did it in school sometimes, really subtle. No, nobody could really hear. And you know, it was a point. There was a limit. There were certain episodes where I could name. Oh, it was that day that happened to me. I did something on my end where I brought their name up in a text message because it was true. It wasn't anything offensive. It was just saying that they were really loud in the morning, and it was true, and they're scaring away the bus drivers. Sophomore year, we had an issue where we had for our entire month we had no permanent bus driver. We had a sub all the time. So I was making that as a true joke, saying that they pretty much were scaring the bus driver away. Obviously, it wasn't true. Like they weren't actually scaring away. It was just a metaphor of saying that because we were always having late buses, put outside, blah blah blah. Again, my fault. I do take full accountability for that issue. But after that, I never mentioned their name. Now, continuing on, they pretty much were in my bubble confronting me about why I brought their name up. They ignored them and were like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's true, and they know that. But it's fine. Anyways, it got to a point where they kind of nerved my body to a point where I had to report it again. And this time I regretted this report. I accidentally told one of the staff members the entire backstory of how this happened, and I was dumb enough to show them my entire phone. This is not my phone, my other phone. I showed them my entire text message with a certain person. If you guys kind of build up the you guys know about. Anyways, I showed them my phone, and pretty much, according to the staff, the horse is out the box, or the horse is out the pen. You can't get it back in. I really didn't want them to know. My parents knew about the situation, but I really didn't want them to call my parents because I felt it was a really uncomfortable spot. In a moment of panic, I started sobbing my eyes out like crazy. I said stuff that I fully regretted. I said stuff like I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to end my life. I wanted to do just horrible stuff to myself to a point where I literally think that like CPS was about to be called to my parents. No, I'm being so serious. And I'm joking around. That's because I think it's so funny that they took it so literally, but also it was such a vulnerable moment for me. So I understand why they did it. But it was to a point where they were worried that something was going to happen to me. So they asked a policeman to stand beside me and literally left me there. I was sobbing on the floor and I was making big scenes around it. And I pretty much got I wouldn't say a suspension because it wasn't a suspension. I almost got expelled because of this behavior. They were like, if you're going to keep this behavior up, we are going to suspend you. They didn't say not suspend, expel you. They never said expelled, but they said it in a tone, in a sentence of like, if you keep acting this up, we may have to remove. That's what they said. They never said the word expelled, but we obviously knew the metaphor of what the word removed means. Duh, in high school. We're not that stupid, are we? That being said, okay, my parents were horrified, were upset. I've never seen them be so disappointed in me. I knew they were, and I deserved that because I could have handled it properly. But in that moment of grief, I couldn't. It turned my report into the bully through that one situation where it all started. And it was on my transcript. It's not gonna get sent to colleges, thank God. But it was. I remember seeing a glimpse of it, and it was a 10 paragraph. Like it was really gigantic, big paragraph. And to this day, I hate that staff member because I thought I could trust them. Obviously, I couldn't. I know that now. And when I do see them in the hallway, I kind of rot in my bed. I rot in my heart, being, oh, I saw them again. I hate that because I remember bringing that. I remember every single time. And that one situation also brought like um three assistant principals in that room that I all know now and before. And it also brought my casework manager because I was pretty much closer to her than anybody that I knew in the room, obviously. Right. Anyways, I think the same day that happened, I was pretty much able to go to school. But I didn't obviously it was the same day. It was the same day. So I knew I couldn't go to school anymore until I got a kind of like a paper that says I'm okay, I'm fine, like no, nothing's wrong with me. This sweet lady, my my mom called and she was looking for what the school offered. Obviously, that's what they needed, and they were like, "Nope, this is what we give." And anyways, what we give the pretty much it's like a therapist, pretty much. And they were like, "This is what we give." So letting you know, the school approved it, obviously. Anyways, so I go to my house and I just wait there until they arrived. They arrived. It was like a hot summery day, so there was a lot of bugs, but not like crazy amount of bugs. And they pretty much asked me questions like, "Are you okay? Do you need to go to mental hospital?" Blah blah blah, like the normal stuff, like when you wanna like ruin your own life. I never did. I said that in the moment of fear, which I didn't know it could get that badly. I'm okay now, guys. I'm okay. Okay, fully healthy, perfectly fine. Mental health is probably ruined because of school, but that's life. I mean, we all have our moments. So the sweet lady, was so sweet. She asked the simple questions, and obviously I said no to all of them because I was perfectly fine. I was just in a moment of crisis. They're like, and she was like, "Yep, you're fine. Nothing was wrong with you." And I was like, "Okay, that's great. That's great." But she did ask me a question afterwards. Why did you act like that? What was the reasoning behind it? Because you made your parents worried, and you know that my parents were far away. They can't be in the conversation. Or because like if you like seen the Gypsy Rose movie, you've seen like where the mother would always only would answer for the daughter only, you know. So same thing for the mental health thing. You can't have your parents answer everything for you. So it has to be a one-on-one. So if you needed help, for example, you're like, I need you to call the police because of something happened to me. Like you can tell them because there's no parents around. Obviously, it happened to me, so we're good. Anyways, she was like, "What was the reason of you doing that? Why did you do it?" And I started re-crying again. I said, "This happened, that happened." They gave me like a motive. I forgot what the quote was. I blinked out afterwards. Kind of like I kind of blocked it out. I didn't want to remember that situation ever again. I really didn't, but I can remember the whole story. So you know that it's PTSD. Hell, I know it's PTSD. We love PTSD. We really love post traumatic. What is it called? Post traumatic stress disorder. We love PTSD. It's not so great. I know. I still feel like we're so bad. Sorry, guys. I think I'm showing my bad angle. Anyways, so this is so here I am, kind of just happy that I'm done with that. And I come into the school next day. I pretty much did get suspended, but because I did it so quickly, I was unsuspended the next day. It was my normal period, like nothing happened, but I knew what happened. Nobody else knew what happened. They were all worried for me. Everything, blah blah blah, blah. And yeah. Anyways, they kept on doing what they're doing, and there was a moment in my situation that happened. After that, they were like, "You know what you can do though? We can give you a paper, and we could both make you guys both sign it to make you guys both not talk about each other's name. And if you do, you get suspended, and then you get expelled afterwards for talking about their name times." That's the only time that they said I could do something like that. My mom gave me a logic that was like, even if you make them suspend, my mom was right. She was like, even if you make him and yourself write your signature saying like I understand, like it's like a long paper, almost like a cease and desist letter. Like, I understand not to talk about this person, blah blah blah. Anyways, and then you sign your will away, pretty much. Well, my mom was like, even if you do make them sign it, they can still talk about your name, and you just don't know who, because number one, you don't know if they could just lie and say no, I didn't talk about their name. Because I did ask them, I was like, how do you know? They were like, if we da, 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 da. I don't know what the reasoning was, and I'm like, that's kind of stupid in my head, because I'm like, how are you gonna know? Anyways, my mom was correct. She pretty much gave me the correct logic of the reasoning. So I was like, okay, that's fine. You know what? I'm not gonna do it then. And I didn't. I didn't do it, and I was like, yeah, I didn't do it. And I'm happy that I didn't do it, because I do kind of get annoyed now, and I'm just happy that I'm able to just blow it all out. Thank God, just like vent about it one on one to myself, or just in my diary. I'm not gonna say anything else for legal reasons, but you know, you know. Anyways, so it continues to happen on the bus for sophomore year, and I was the end of sophomore year. I went to China, made my China diary, and I really didn't care too much about it now. Moved on. They didn't really call my name too much this year. And then literally today, so fast forward to junior year now. I pretty much am just done with that person. Don't really talk to them as much. I did get a word of advice from somebody that did know him really well, that said that he was a good person. Obviously, I knew that he was a good person. Deep down, I always knew that somebody was deep down a good person. I knew that they were just doing it out of the boringness, and I would always forgive somebody. I'm not the type of person that believes in second chances. Unless you ruin it for yourself, then I don't believe in second chances for you specifically. Other than that, I do believe in second chances. I always would give it to people who I think deserved it. Other than that, I really didn't give second chances to anybody. I talked about the story on my Snapchat. They're the first to hear it back in like August or September or the beginning of the school year, because it was really bad. And they did. Oh, hey, you know what? Yes, they actually did call my name out. That's why I talked about it. Um. Anyways, sorry. I tracted. Literally, fast forward to junior year. Literally today, I was pulling out the window, and because number one, it was really hot in the bus, and anyways, got yelled at the back of the bus by the guy who first started everything. And then some random guy, or some random person I don't know who, yelled my name out also really loudly to tell me to pull up the window. I'm like, it's bloody hot on the bus, and I just think it's so stupid for them to do that. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to argue with them. But you know what I did want to do? Let me show you what I want to do. Me standing at the front, them calling my name, give me that middle finger right there, being like, fuck you, fuck you. You know. Anyways, try not to think too negative, try to have a positive mindset, but that kind of stuff really pisses me off. But that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to flick them off, but I didn't because maturity wise, guys, we all know I'm the mature one here. Like, hello. Long story short, it was a very vulnerable, very sensitive moment for me. And I felt very, very just unsafe. I felt really unprotected of myself. My parents always told me that in order to get good friends and for people to actually like you, you had to have good grades. I have straight A's. Why haven't people like me yet? I knew that wasn't true, but I was so young that I believed in that. It's so stupid of me. It's the mindset that I always had. I know it's not true now, and I know not to follow that rule, but I still get good grades just to kind of bring my parents some joy from what happened during sophomore year because it happened in November. The the my the month that I was born is insane. Such a great birthday gift to myself, right? I know, almost getting expelled from my high school. That being said, that is the end of my vulnerable story that has happened. Now it's junior year currently, and I'm going to be uploading this tomorrow. A very clickbaity, not clickbaity, but a really sensitive time. So I do want everybody to remember that it is okay to feel a certain way because of what happened. And you're not alone. I was once a victim of getting bullied. I would never bully somebody unless they started it first. But also I would never be the one start it. I'd always be the one to report it. Not because I'm a tattletaler, there's a difference. Because I myself was worried about my own safety. And you would do the exact same thing too. And there you go. That's the end of that story. And it is all real. All real. Isn't that so great? I know. It's so great. We love people who get bullied and got what they don't deserve. And the bullied person is completely fine. They're living their life. They have a girlfriend. I saw them in the hallways all the time in high school, and I always butts deep down. That being said, if you did watch the entire story of my life of getting bullied, pretty much, thank you guys so much for literally listening to it. I hope it blows up and it reach out to lots of audiences. Hopefully, get me on like some sort of news channel to kind of bring the story out. And I am okay now. I am completely okay. I am completely fine. Don't worry about me. I have gone through enough where I am pretty much having thick skin. So thank you guys so much for all, even if you're not worried about me, I'm just okay. So thank you. But anyways, that's it for this video. No watermark. It's a very vulnerable 101 situation that I had. So yeah. Anyways, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Ooh.